partnerships and how we do it. Prepare to be inspired.
That's the worst thing he can do because it just increased my anxiety 10 times. But I hope I'm going to do well. So I will try to go slow as I can during my presentation to make sure that my funny accent doesn't come in the middle in your ability to understand what I'm trying to say here. So it's great to be here. It's good to see this full room. I know that we have people watching this through live stream. So it's great being here. My name is Ed Ceballos. I'm the head of partnerships at Everflow. And today I'm going to talk about what is our partnership strategy and how we do it at Everflow. And I'm going to present this in 3 pieces. The first one is why partner marketing has become, wait, who's doing the change? I need the clicker. This one here. Yeah, I thought someone was going to change for me. It's not. Let's see, this should. There you go. So I'm planning to present this in 3 pieces. The first one is why partnerships have become so important, and especially partner marketing. The second one is what is our partner strategy? And the third piece is what is our playbook? So let's begin. Partnerships are not new, right? Companies have been using partnerships for years, from channel partners in high-tech companies like IBM, Cisco, Microsoft, to strategic partners like what UPS has been doing with Dell Computer for years, and even business referral networks that pop up around Chamber of Commerce. So what has changed to make partnerships so important? I believe the answer is in 3 massive market transitions that have opened a window of opportunities for all companies, but have made it inevitable for every business-to-business company to change how they grow, operate, and scale through and with partners. You know, the emergence of cloud, big data, and the APIs gave birth to the SaaS economy, where massive amounts of data are created and made sense through a massive transfer information between apps and platforms. Today, there is an average of 25,000 SaaS companies only in the US, and the average user today, the business user, has 88 apps installed in their computer. So what this means is that software has moved from being an enabling infrastructure to being the core business infrastructure. And that's how its companies are actually serving clients, operating at scale, and differentiating in the marketplace. So we can say that in this digital economy, software is driving value creation. The second one is the consumerization of technologies. The digitalization of the economy empowers the creation of new technologies and consumption models that has enabled to bring new products that are creating the consumer space instead of products that were born on the enterprise IT sector. The poster boy of this is probably Zoom, and I guess all of us here use Zoom. Zoom was born out of the conviction of a Cisco engineer who realized that their conferencing platform, WebEx, was rigid, was obsolete, and the market was hungry to use something simple, like a consumer-like application where you can just click and connect and start your meeting. And no one believed in him and Cisco. So he ended up quitting, ended up founding the company, and you know where he is now, right? Is the leading platform for video as a service. When they filed for their to go public, their IPO, in their S1 form is one that you have to file in front of the SEC. They had this text that I think is very, very telling. Employees are increasingly the primary force for IT modernization at work as they bring the latest technologies from their personal life to their work. So he saw this happening very clearly. And what means is that we move from having a computer sourced by the IT department with standard software, standard configuration, to having the computer that you want with the apps that you need, right? And that means that in the past, to get a new app, you want to get Tableau, you want to get Zoom, whatever you want to get, it was about convincing the IT manager to let you use the software. Today, the biggest problem that you have is convincing your line manager to allow you to expense the monthly subscription for that new platform, right? So what that means is that consumerization made every user a decision maker. It's a huge shift in power. And the third one is the network effect. And this is a word we all heard about a lot. But think about it. When users need guidance to choose an application, where do they go? Where do they pick the information? There was this study back in 2020 that surveyed 8,000 people in 8 countries, including US, UK, and China. And collectively, these 8 countries represent like $400 billion in ad spend. And what you find out is this growing mistrust in users for any type of advertising and social platform. They find out that the less likely source the users will look to garner business information about any solution will be advertising. And social media platforms didn't fare any better, with only 17% of the users that will agree to trust in anything posted on social media, right? This is impressive. At the same time, last year, LinkedIn released their annual survey. They do it like every year for the last 7 years. And they find out that 81% of the users will trust the recommendation of their peers and colleagues to make any business decision. What does this mean? This means that there is a shift in the power from people trusting in brand-owned and controlled assets to the recommendation of peers, friends, and colleagues. To make things worse, every time you want to add a new app to your tech stack, in our case, our marketing tech stack, we want to make sure the app is integrated and can interact and exchange data with the rest of the apps that we have. And we, the users, have learned to trust the people that we know in those companies, and we actually hear their recommendations. We ask them, I'm using Shopify. What do you suggest me to use for a conversion rate optimization platform or for a chat to support users who come to my e-commerce site with questions? So the effect of this is that we have today this weird scenario that doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter what you put out there, the majority of people will be listening from everyone else first before they believe in you. And this capital of referrals, when it's in motion, is what we call the network effect. The impact of this is that today, brand trust is built by network effects. And this shouldn't come as a surprise to any of us. I think that all of us have found ourselves checking first the one-star reviews in Amazon, right, before checking a product, or even asking a fellow shopper about a product they just grabbed from a shelf, right? So at the same time, marketing departments, we keep spending a lot of money, but the real trust, the real brand trust is built by network effect. So that is why partner marketing is so appreciated today in this business context, especially for business-to-business companies in the SaaS space, because it has become the perfect vehicle to deliver the right message to the right audiences, leveraging this influence capital from all these stakeholders. And unless you know how to do that, you're not going to be able to win in this economy. So let's move now and take a quick look what is our partnership strategy at Everflow. I don't know how familiar. I guess that many of you here in this room are familiar on how we work, what is our program. But today we have roughly 80 tech companies and agencies as partners. And we have roughly 400 referral partners. And the interesting part is we have what I call 100% overlap, meaning 100% of our clients is already working with one of those partners. We don't have any partnership with someone where we say, okay, I'm partnered with this XY company, and we don't have clients in common. All the companies we partner with, there is at least an overlap with one of these partners. In many cases, we have 3, 4, or more companies that are partners and are serving the same client. How is this important? Well, partners help us to grow faster, and they help us to grow faster in 3 ways. The first one is with acquisition. By working with our partners, we can acquire clients easier, faster, with less cost. The second way they help us is monetization. They help us expand the adoption of our platform by enabling new business cases, by being integrated with them. I think that a good example is an integration we have with Recharge. We have Chase here. Recharge is, in case you know, the 4th most downloaded app in the Shopify ecosystem. And by having an integration with Recharge, our direct advertiser brands can now track not only the original conversion, but it can also track the downstream events that are relevant, for example, a rebill or a new subscription payment, right? So that's the second one. And the third one, they help us with retention. Let me show you a couple of numbers. By partnering with Shopify, see, when you count the moment when we have the officially launched app and check 18 months later, we have 15 times more clients than we had before partnering with Shopify. By having a partnership with Tipalti, and Daniel should be around here, Tipalti friends, hey guys, we were able to launch Everflow Plus. And with Everflow Plus, the average revenue per account is at least 2 times bigger, and in many cases heading in the way of 3, even 4 times bigger. And remember I mentioned that when our partners have more clients in common with us, that benefits every one of us. It benefits in many ways, but one of the ways they benefits with Everflow, clients that have 5 or more apps have a 2.2 times higher or longer lifespan with us, are users with us for longer. The retention is higher, right? So it only makes so much sense for us, right, to work with partners, to collaborate, because it's on everyone's benefit. So remember, I mentioned to you that trust is built through network effects, and the capital, the currency, is trust. And when we partner with someone, what we're doing is allowing to exchange that capital and use it so we can grow faster. Nice ways to put it in numbers is when you look at our install base, our active clients, 46% of them came through some form of referral, right? So it's working for us. So if any of you have been in sales, you know that every business, every lead has a sales cycle, right? And the fact that you can shorten just the prospecting piece of any sales cycle means that you're going to be able to close that faster. In average, last time I checked the numbers back in December, if any salesperson in Everflow was closing 100% of their leads coming from a partner, they will count with additional 2 months on a fiscal year. because you close so much faster, right? You will be closing the same quota instead of 12 months in 10 months, meaning that you have 2 additional months compared to everyone else. So that increase in productivity is really impressive. And the other interesting piece that we have is the conversion rate is 10 times higher, meaning that we get 10 clients coming from an inbound, a chat, they visit the website and click asking for a demo, right? And compared to the ones that come from a referral partner like Shopify, Recharge, Datable here, Tipalti, etc., the conversion rate is 10 times higher. Why is that? Well, we talk about it. It's the network effect. There is trust. And if I am telling you, if I'm working with Recharge, and Recharge tells me, if you really want to track traffic and conversions and do it right, go with Everflow. Why would I go with anyone else? Because that's how it works. The last part, as I promised to deliver today, is giving you more insights on how we are executing, right? We call our playbook. And of course, we've been in a process, right? Growing, learning, adjusting. You never stop learning, adjusting, adding new things. So what I am about to share with you is kind of the latest interaction. There are many things we still need to build, things that we need to expand and improve. But as of today, we have like 4 partner tracks, right? One is referral. We have a certified agency program. We have a tech partner program and a publisher program, which is managed by our dear friend right here. So what are these tracks, right? And I love that picture of playing tug of war because the rule is partnership is a team sport, right? The referral partner program is very handy. There is a very high percentage of our clients that came as a referral from many of you, our clients in this room, right? Because you're using the platform, you love it, a friend needs it, say, go with Everflow. That is a very high number. Sometimes the referral comes out of sheer trust. Sometimes is because it's a consultant that is helping many other companies. And yes, sometimes there is a revenue share involved because that's how the business works, right? But the referral partner also works very well for some relationships that are either just starting or with a tech partner or a relationship where there will never be an integration. And I think the perfect example here is ShipBob. ShipBob uses Everflow, and ShipBob is a partner. And I'm sure ShipBob is also a partner for Recharge, right? It's with Shopify. There is nothing, not a single byte or piece of data that we need to share, in the process with ShipBob. There is nothing in the transaction ID or conversion, nothing, right? But we're going after the same clients. We're going after the same target markets. So maybe there is a chance we can help each other by leveraging the referral influencer capital that we carry in our relationships. Well, it's a perfect place to leave those relationships. It's also true that we use it for some relationships that are just starting. So there are like 2 or 3 new partnerships that we started developing last week. And basically the agreement is, let's start with referral partners. And there is something very healthy about doing this. And this is the reason for it. I skipped one slide, shouldn't have done it. Many times it seems to be there is a great potential, right, between the 2 companies. And everyone starts thinking, oh, we need an integration, right? And I will go and talk to Jonathan, say, hey, Jonathan, we need this integration. I will talk with Susie, I will talk with Peter. But we really don't know what's the integration that we need. We really don't know what is the use case that is really going to add the max value for the clients. And like 10 years ago, and even 5 years ago, I would say that most companies will say, okay, build an integration, and then we're going to talk, right? Well, Shopify operates like that today. BigCommerce operates like that today. For the rest of us, we actually want to learn from clients and say, what makes sense, right? What integration, what is the use case that is really going to drive value? So many times, even if we agree that there is a potential of adding a lot of things, we just rather wait before moving forward. With Dateable, Simon, we spoke for months, and we've been doing co-marketing together, doing a lot of things, but we just end up building an integration, 6 months, a year later, when we had a client saying, okay, guys, when both of you are together, this is how it makes sense that you guys talk to each other. This is the data flow I need. These are the transactions I need to be passed to one another. So building the use case only when you have that guidance is essentially important. I would argue that there are many cases when we know what we need. We don't have to wait until the market screams at our faces that we're missing a feature. But there are many cases where the universe of options is so wide that you just don't want to trigger and, and start building a feature that then will end up having a sad shelf life, right? And I think it happens to all of us at one point or another. So the relationship with tech companies and agencies is a little bit different. And when we start a relationship, we have like two big clear phases. The first one is the engage phase. And during the engage phase, the first thing we want to know is get a very clear understanding how the client will benefit. It's not about what I want to do partnering with Dateable. Is we need to have an absolute amount of clarity on how the clients will benefit from that. Because if we can articulate that case, like clients will benefit by being able to do this and that, then we have a business case to move forward with this partnership as a tech relationship beyond just a mere referral. And so that's the first part. The second part is, of course, getting into the mutual alignment, understand how the partner is going to benefit, how we're going to benefit. And the third piece that I have to remind myself all the time to make sure it happens is check the commitment is in place. Because many times happens, you're so excited about partnering with this company, you're investing so much into it, but there's just no reciprocity. The partner is stretching his resources, they cannot commit to execute with you, and simply the partnership doesn't happen. So checking these first three things for us is like one-on-one every time we evaluate a new tech partnership or agency partnership. Understand what is the value for client, understand how we exactly going to benefit each other, and make sure we're willing to put the same amount of skin in the game. And once we have this aligned, we're basically going to go doing a setup, which is the traditional let the world know that we're working together. Maybe it's a press release, it's featured in each other's website, it's doing this typical kind of things, social media amplification, so the world knows that we're integrated and working together, added in a newsletter. Probably some of you opened the Everflow UI and saw a notification that we have a new partnership with a new company, a new integration there. So that's basic setup. And the next thing that we do, and we did not do this a year ago, we started, what was Michael, like 8 months ago, right? Started working with Crossbeam. And I will tell you what is that. And once we did that, we ran the first co-marketing campaign. So what is sharing data in Crossbeam? One of the biggest, harder to assess things is really understanding, is there potential in this relationship? It might be apparent, right? But you really want to trust data. You want to trust your gut, right? So many times it happens that you believe there is a huge potential, but it never happens. And it's so frustrating for the teams because ultimately you have a finite number of resources and time, and you want to invest it on those relationships that drives the highest business value. And so Crossbeam basically allows you to match your funnel, leads, prospect, and clients, against your partner's funnel. And you don't need to share any confidential data. You can just look at the numbers. So the whole idea is what Crossbeam looks like is something like this. And I know the screen is not showing, doesn't have the best visibility, but basically think on a matrix 3 by 3. You might have more columns, but basically on the vertical axis is our clients, our prospects, and our leads. And on the horizontal, on the X, is our clients, prospects, leads, and prospects. And so what happens is everything that goes in the first intersection, everything that is my client and is your client, right, is mutual clients. And what can you do with mutual clients? Well, two things. The first one, make some case studies. We're going to involve Tony, and we're going to have an amazing case study out there, right, which is going to only add more social proof and more credibility and capital to connect with more users. And the second thing we can do is, for example, what we discover when we connected with HubSpot. Well, we discover that there are 10 times more clients that are mutual clients than clients actually using the Everflow HubSpot integration. 10 times more. So for only 1 out of 10 clients are using the integration. That means that immediately for Canwar's team, this is an expand game. That's the opportunity to go and think, what happens with the other 9 out of 10 teams that are not using the integration, but still they're using both platforms, HubSpot and Everflow? It's a no-brainer. Because remember, the more integrations a client keeps, the happier he is, the more value he gets, the less likely the client will actually leave and change to another platform, right? So that's an obvious intersection of understanding the data. And again, you don't have to share data, but if you want, you can double-click, change your settings, and actually show the list of accounts and share whatever you think like sharing. Maybe it's only the name of the company. Maybe it's the website, right? And of course, you have to be very careful of what you share. There are a lot of regulations and privacy, and it's very easy for us to manage because we're used to move between those boundaries. But it's very effective. There is another intersection. All the companies that are the prospects and leads of my partner that are my active clients, well, this is an obvious opportunity for me to make an intro to them, right? And see how we can help them win a relationship with those accounts. You're trying to sell them, I'm already there, well, maybe I'm going to make an intro and see if we can help you. Maybe I can tell you they're never going to go with you because they're super happy with this other partner. Maybe I don't have an answer, right? And there is another super interesting intersection, which is, for us, which is the intersection between all companies that are my partner's clients and are our lead and prospects. I would say it's particularly interesting for Kurt and his team. And the intersection where it is both a prospect and a lead for both of us, well, that's where we can co-market. That's where we can co-invest and do things together to grow faster. That's what we do day in, day out with Tipalti, right? And when we say, okay, we're going to run this particular marketing campaign, we know exactly what segment we want to attack based on looking the data, making these smart decisions. I was hoping this would be visible, but it's not. This is basically a screenshot of some new dashboards that we started using in HubSpot. And so basically the idea is, imagine now that you're a salesperson and you have a portfolio and you're trying to sell to these 10 companies, and now you can see that this new company you're starting to work with is actually a client with Datable, with Tipalti, with Recharge, with any other partner. It's probably, I can ask a question, right? And share some intelligence, get some insights, and see how we can win this client. So by bringing that information to the sales teams and for marketing decisions, our expectation is that we can accelerate the speed of closing business, the speed of lead acquisition. And I know that many of you on streaming or here in this room are very focused on the business-to-consumer space, and many of the things I am mentioning here, it doesn't make sense to you because it's not the dynamic on business-to-consumers. But we are in a business-to-business environment, and that's what we need, right? We need to be able to use data in this way, leverage the relationship with partners, and data, more importantly, right, to drive this business growth. My last comment is we've been working a lot in the business-to-business space, trying to see how we can grow faster because the market potential and the need is so massive. And every time I talk to one of my peers in the industry, to someone working in another SaaS company, another SaaS platform, we keep reaffirming that the original vision in Everflow, which is enabling companies to track and attribute correctly, and not only the original events, but the downstream events, is still a basic need in the market. And it's even more so for business-to-business companies. And for people that work in partnerships for us, like us, just like me, it's even more. Because I was 3 weeks ago in a conference in Philadelphia with Crosby. Crosby made this big event when they bring people from all SaaS companies in the US, and there was everything there, right? People from Horowitz, one of the biggest investors for startups in the US, to a lot of e-commerce startups. And it was interesting to see how the partnerships teams are working with partners to do co-marketing, trying to drive leads to both teams, and still are fighting with the basic need to track attribution. And even companies that are using PRMs, because apparently for some companies, there is a point in SaaS companies where they believe the solution for the problem is having a PRM, right? That portal where partners can connect with you and you can share documents, right? But that's not how business goes. When any of you in this room make a recommendation or referral for Everflow, you're probably going to have a one-to-one conversation. You're going to send a text message. So the flow of referral in business happens, let's say, in this format, right? It's not that you can, Simon will send a referral to us, and we're going to say, no, don't talk to me. Get into the portal and register it, right? That's not how it goes. So the reality of how business flows, you have to have a deep integration between your CRM and your tracking platform. And you have to be able to track what happens not only during that initial introduction or referral, but be able to track this. So if in the future, the partner, the referral that Tipalti or Shopify or anyone send our way, even if they go into the website and click ask for a demo, we can still track that or to the original source, which has to do with respecting the transparency of the relationship. It's very frustrating when someone refers someone to you and then they find out 2 months later that they closed the deal and they were never recognized. And most of the time, it's simply because they cannot do it. And it was a big surprise for me in this conference, seeing how many companies still lack this basic capability. They have these amazing portals. They can track. How are you tracking? We use UTM codes. What happens when the partners navigate out of your marketplace? We lose the conversion, right? So for partnerships and in this digital economy, I still believe that we have this unique ability to do things where we add a lot of value. We're doing it for ourselves. Our newest hotspot integration, I think, is going to make it even more powerful. So that is all I have for you today. I hope this helped you get an idea of how we're doing partnerships, how we envision these relationships, and I hope that it helps you somehow in what you're doing. No, don't applaud me because I'm going to feel super ashamed and shy, going to be blushing. And yes, it might sound like it's easy to get on stage, but for me, still at my age and still struggling with that human aspect of getting here and being such a stressful moment. But I had fun sharing this with you. So, any question from anyone?
Hello, Tony from Everflow.
I see you.
Question for you. As far as when people hook up with Crossbeam, is there an average number of partner intersect you normally see? Is it 100 partners, 10? What's the average number?
Yeah. When I was younger, I used to think that the bigger the better, and something I learned, when it comes to how much you code with a program, you just want to focus on those quality relationships that drives results, right? Just like many direct-to-consumer brands think that the right thing to do is get into these massive networks and get 5,000 people doing an application for your offer, and only to see that no one is really driving results that matter. Well, this is exactly the same thing with business-to-business relationship. You can get connection with 100 people, but you just want to connect with the partners that make sense to you, that add value mutually. So we are not rushing to add a lot of crazy connections on Crossbeam, and we're trying to execute on this playbook of saying, okay, we're going to work with the companies where we can add value mutually. We can clearly add value to clients when there is a mutual, equal level of commitment, and then we will scale from that. And so today we're tracking HubSpot, the stage of our partner relationship. It can be recruiting, onboarding, activating, or scaling. So our measure and our goal is being able to track in the program and say, okay, we have enough number of relationships, going through the funnels. But yeah, again, it's a curation game, and that's how we're playing. I'm sure there will be a moment where we will be beyond curation and we have enough scale where might need to go and get another 21 connected, but we'd rather do it well and add real value to clients at the moment. Any other question? No? Then thank you very much for listening.